Practitioners of man, happy Monday. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Thank you for joining me for practice this morning. I want to address a question that I hear a lot, and it's either I know I need to make changes, but I don't know where to start, or I know I need to make changes, but it feels like the list of changes that I have to make in my life is so overwhelming that I can't even decide where to begin, and I get crippled with this. I guess you could say it's like crippled with how inundating it can feel when you start to wake up to the changes that you want to make, because you see that there's so many of them. And so I want to give you some pointers, some practices on how to address this and navigate this more efficiently than maybe how you have been, so that you're not crippled with fear, or so that you at least have a starting point, or at least how I address it in my own life, how the other men I know address it as well. For the first one, if you don't know where to start, I would suggest that that's maybe not actually your truth. I would suggest that it's actually more of the second one, and that you're so inundated with things that you maybe want to change in your life that you can't quite see yet. But if you truly don't know where to start, just keep an eye out on the next week, probably even the next day, and all of the things that come up that feel like struggles to you, that feel like pain to you, that feel like they're not ideal. That's very likely a good place to start. And if you do it for a day, you'll have a decent list. You do it for a week, you'll start to see a pattern. You'll start to see the same patterns of behaviors, the same patterns of feelings coming up in you, of struggle, of pain, of just not liking certain aspects about you, or certain aspects of things that seem to, I don't want to say mysteriously come into your life because you're attracting them, but you may not even be able to see how you're attracting them just yet. The bigger question is, what happens when you start waking up to all the things that you want to change? That list can feel pretty inundating sometimes. I know when I embarked on this personal development journey back in 2009, that list was quite large. I didn't even have a consistent place to lay my head every night. I was still battling chemical dependency issues. I wasn't allowed to know where my son was, and those are just like the top 3 or 4. I mean, come on, there's a whole litany of things after that. And that's what I would invite you to do as well. What feel like the top 2 or 3 things that are impeding you the most, that are nagging at you the most? See, these are going to be the things that, if you get honest enough with yourself, if you truly make a decision and take some action to address them, they're going to be the ones that move the needle the most. And that's where I would start, and that's still where I start today. See, this journey doesn't end for me even after 13 years. This journey doesn't end just because I'm sharing all this wisdom and practice with you guys. I have this channel, the people that I help privately, the group on Wednesday. This journey doesn't end for me. There are always new levels. And so even at where I'm at now, there's still okay, what are we going to work on next? And it's still what's going to move the needle the most? You know, I'll tell you, more recently for me, since I've been putting myself out there more, since I've started this channel, since I've been engaging with a number of other humans, it's been my communication skills. Trying to put myself back in the shoes of when I was going through whatever each particular practice was for the first time. Really working on articulating that as clear as possible, as empathetically as possible, without watering it down, without diluting it. And I get it if that's not a high priority for you right now. I get it if that's not going to move the needle for you right now. So start wherever you're at with whatever does feel like it's going to move the needle the most. Don't worry about all the 37 things on your list that you came up with that you want to change. Equate it to, and I share gym analogies a lot just because they're so applicable. But when you go to the gym, if you want to get stronger, Do you do one bicep curl? Do you do one rep of bench press? Do you do one push-up? Or do you do a few? Do you do a set of 3, a set of 6, a set of 8, a set of 12, depending on what your goals are? Most likely that's what you're doing. I get it. There's those weird workout days where you just totally fry everything and you'll do like sets of 50. Bear with me here. You ain't doing sets of 50 every time you go to the gym. You ain't doing sets of 1 every time you go to the gym. So don't pick just one problem, but equate this to going to the gym and pick 2 or 3 that you want to start with, that you know are going to move the needle the most in your life. And when I say move the needle, have the greatest impact as far as the man that you want to become, or the direction that you want to head. The 2 or 3 that move you closer to your ideal version of you, that move you closer to your goals, your mission, whatever that is. Start with those 2 or 3. And then once those practices become ingrained in you, they become habits, and now those habits are now your new lifestyle. And you still may not be an expert on them. You may not be a master on them yet, and that's okay. But they're ingrained in you enough that they're almost second nature. Just like going to the gym for me now is like, I don't even have to think about it. Meal prepping every week, I don't even have to think about it. My morning routine, my evening routine, what I put in my body, they're all just so ingrained in me that they're my lifestyle, the way I live, it's who I am. And once you get things in place for those top 2 or 3 that become second nature to you, that you don't even have to like hardly think about it, and it's almost like breathing. Once they become equivalent to breathing and you doing them consistently, then you move on to the next 3 that are going to make the biggest impact, get you closer to who you want to be, get you closer to your goals, your vision, your dreams. And it's really that simple. And you just keep doing that until you die. And then you're on a constant trajectory of upgrades. See, there's no end to how good you can make yourself. There's no end to how ideal of a version of yourself that you can create. The only end is either when you die or when you stop practicing being you. That's today's practice. Where do I even start? And even if I've been doing this a little while and I still want to get better, where do I start? So, when's the last time you've practiced getting really clear on where to start and what you need to work on next? Or are you just shooting from the hip every day? Just rolling out of bed after you hit snooze 3 times, slamming a cup of coffee and like kind of winging it? Thank you. Thank you for showing up for you. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for showing up for all the other men out there, for the people in your world. I love you guys. Remember, you're only as good as your last practice. I'll see you guys next time.